Today, Rinpoche gave a teaching on the great treatise on the stage of the path to enlightenment, and the section on the measure of the attitude of a person of small capacity, and dispelling misconceptions about a person of small capacity. There will be some introductory prayers, and then the teaching will begin.
오야 다들이 가지고 나리 제보 다 삼바정 것도 삼바의 집이 들러로도 세워서 사지송은 삼바정 것도 차 대집이 차 되네 로도 세워 송바도 말বে 어들래다 집이 종 사지 담아들다 어디 차송 조르다
When we look at the great treatise on the stage of the path to enlightenment, and the outline that has the heading of training the mind in the stage of the path shared in common with beings of small capacity, we see that there are three categories. First, the actual training of thought of a person of small capacity. Second, the measure of the attitude of a person of small capacity. And then third, dispelling misconceptions related to a person of small capacity. So we've completed the section on the actual training of thought of a person of small capacity. And then we've also completed the section on the measure of the attitude of a person of small capacity. So now we're dealing with the dispelling misconceptions or clearing up misconceptions concerning the attitude of a person of small capacity. Sumba, listen.
오지 다 숨발로도 세와도 베이제는데도 니자 주메송레 니자송도 인리시가 봐요나 하고 말해.
Okay, so we begin on page 261 in the English. Nicha ni Rinpoche?
니자송레 어디 송기 지기드네 니바 삼바 제비세더로 테즈마도
Sumba de la Bodusewa.
Okay.
Rasa.
어디 인치도
Lapsa.
뭐야.
The Chanlasa.
어제다 다 니바 삼바 제비세더인바 다 가다 제비 중의 삼바 제비 중의 삼바 제비 중의 삼바 딩기 삼바 제비 침비 삼바 삼바송으로 다 제비 중의 삼바 제비세더 선더다 셔마니가 나네 셔마 조시게 상로 중소나 안 삼바 제비세레스 가정가서 어떤 로인바 삼바 제비세 어떤 가서 제비 중의 주대 어디 상라 레스나는 페이지 는 가서 취해야 돼 제비 중의 주로 해지로 천도 주 상로 여바 이나도 어디 제비 중의 주제가 매죠 천도도 셔마니가 나는 주 셔마되는 상로도 해봐 이나 어디네 어디 제비 중의 상바 들고서 말বে
Shema Salo Lena, Denejibo Chungale.
중의 상바 제고서 어디 제비 중의 하는 거지로다
So when we look at the actual measure of an attitude of a person of small capacity, we'll see that we have a training of thought of all of the capacities. So, and then we would have a measure of that attitude that's developed in all of the three scopes. So the small scope or the small capacity, the medium scope or the medium capacity, and the great scope or the great capacity. So when we look at how we measure the actual attitude of a person of small capacity, we see if there's been a change that's taken place where previously there's been kind of more interest in previous lives, in the current life or in this life, and then that attitude changes and it becomes much more important, and the interest in future lives becomes paramount. So we measure that actual attitude of a person of small capacity if they are engaging in these practices and doing so for the sake of future lives. If they are engaging in these practices and doing so for the sake of this life, then it doesn't fall under the small capacity dharma. It only becomes such dharma when it is focused on a future life. So when the measure is when previously one had more interest in this life, and then a change takes place, and then the interest becomes focused on one's future life. So that's the measure of the attitude. Jepitse lasar.
Ta lotu sewa tenma yungdo, ta lotu sewa ne suro ne kuyi pensu tangji la yi shir shu goba sombe chuji she nes ne chuji she ne kaji le dang longshu su pensum su bi ngoto ne kowa yinbes kuyi dubares le dang nyomo mabi ongi shungi kuyi dubare diwares ane wate tuyan dunye na jiga mudus tala tunye chiba meriso nyanas lotu do wate re mudwe chonten jiga do nga wate chang nalu le kowa le nganyu ka samba jiga wa sung yoro kowa le nganyu ka samba jiga wa sung yoro zang ane wate kuyi pensu tala tuyan dunye na jiga mudus ane wate sanjiga wate le nganyu samba jiga wa sung duwas kajigo lutu do tere do.
Okay, so ngede logi and then your chu delpa lot then not. Okay. So now we move to the third section, was clearing up misconceptions concerning the attitude of a person of small capacity. So first we begin with the misconception, the wrong idea. So it states in the scripture, it says that you must turn your mind away from all the excellent things of cyclic existence. Someone can misinterpret this and think that it is improper to develop an interest in high status as a human or deity in which body, resources, and the like are excellent because it is within cyclic existence. So here a qualm is presented, because we find in the sutra and the tantric teachings that there is the need to develop the desire to definitely emerge, or renunciation, and one wishes to emerge from cyclic existence. So how could one then state that it becomes a dharma if one is focused on a future high status in which there are these excellent resources, because that seems to be conflicting with the desire to definitely emerge. So then this is the what's being posited, and then there'll be a response to that. Decent.
Ludu sewa na sura ne kuyu pensu tangji la yi sheshu goba sonbe nganyu samba je goba sonduwas sonbe chuji shenes hotel chune chuji shene kaji le dono je pensu sobe ngando ne koa yime le don yomo bo ang shu koa re dio koa yimbe tala tene je ba mari so ludu terendwa mari sun chana ludu che tat gabala ngatu jula tune gabata ngeli jula tune gabani ngudwa gabani
okay
ni nan tambu de wote ngatu jula tune gabande ne ngudwa todo neja la ne goso todo ne gobata tatu ku todo neja ni le ku le la soba 평소 소바는 로아전이 제장 내가 수단도 내고데스 텐데린 바라 주발레 타간레 토바샤와 임비셔로스 어떤 거투게 줄라드는 가바스 어떤 거투게 줄라네 가바스 어때 지터레도와 렌도와 어때 로아 되니 타바도 당지 쳔바 저도 얘기 줘야 내고서 네 뭐투기 때인데 뭐도 하다 매이 때인데 저도 얘기고레스 저도 얘기고 다ን스 네 타투기 저도 얘기 레스 타도 돈이냐 그 르라 소바 방송 소바 네스 레던 연봉 안그 중에 그 르라 소바 방송 소바 네 안에 로아 돈이 제장 타바던 상지 장바 돈이냐 제장 안에 내고수 돈이냐 우레스 내고수 돈도 내고 주생 가르스나 안에 그 안에 매일로 대단 하일로 대 땡들임바르 주발레 땡질레 땡질든 소노사네 안에 타바투투고 말에 상지고본 투투고 말에스 땡 뭐지 자타 동차 뭐 몇단 하일로 된 르된 또 데이텐라 소노다 이제 투사네 안 된룰로야 타발로야 상지고본 투아오던 고그레스 what 소모도 말베 땡들이바 주발레 타네레 투바샤와 임베스 네레스 타바 타지 쳔마 말베 타바 타지 쳔바니 네테 네레스으로 뭐투스나 하다메이 대전들 뭐바토 네레스나 타바 타지 쳔바
Lessa.
what 말베
So the misconception states in scriptures it says that you must turn your mind away from all excellent things of cyclic existence. Someone could misinterpret this and think that it is improper to develop an interest in high status in which body, resources, and the like are excellent because it is within cyclic existence, because it is derived from or comes about from the karma and afflictions. So this is the question. So it's framed more in the Tibetan like an actual misconception that one is positing that there is this misinterpretation that you can't state that this is dharma because it conflicts with renunciation. So just when you're reading that. It reads more like a wrong statement and then a rebuttal to the wrong statement. So the response, there are two kinds of objects of interest. Those which you diligently seek temporarily and those which you diligently seek ultimately. Even persons who strive for liberation must diligently but temporarily seek high bodies, etc. in cyclic existence. For they will ultimately attain certain goodness through a succession of lives in high status. So when we look at those two terms, high status and certain goodness, high status is referring to the upper realms of cyclic existence, of the gods and the humans. Certain goodness is referring to liberation and then omniscience or Buddhahood. When one so in order to achieve certain goodness, which is liberation and complete Buddhahood, it's necessary to have a number of bases from which to practice in order to achieve that goal. So it's not, we won't be able to achieve liberation or Buddhahood with just this one basis. So it's necessary in the future to have a basis from which we can actually practice. So this high status basis is important because with that basis we can eventually, through a series of lifetimes where we have that opportunity, achieve the state of Buddhahood, liberation, and then the state of Buddhahood. That's the differentiation between the terms, and the rebuttal is that you need these bodies that have high status in order to eventually achieve the state of liberation and Buddhahood. Okay.
Mei ten la subi hata mei ten san mabu tu ne di ten la ane dendu yu ju sa ya taba tu ji jo ane ngale tangji chenpa tu ji ju sa ne ane rinpe dendu ru ya taba ru ya sanji gu tu ya tende yin sun tang te tabi ten tere ba ju ne ne ko o te ngon tu ten de nyang lan ji gu res. So
it's necessary to have these temporary bodies of high status in the human and God's realm in order to accumulate the many causes for liberation and complete Buddhahood. So when we look at the different vehicles, we have the hearer's vehicle, or Shravaka, the solitary realizer vehicle, Pratyeka Buddha, and then the Bodhisattva vehicle. And these three vehicles all require renunciation, or the desire to definitely emerge. But in order to practice in these vehicles and achieve their goals, it's necessary to have bases from which one can do that. So that's why it's necessary to have these bases or bodies within the realms that are conducive for those practices. So it is a temporary aim so that one can ultimately achieve the final aims of liberation and Buddhahood.
What nego jula tuna gaba to what is it? That nego tatu ngele jula tuna gaba tele, the redo tatu ngele jula tuna gaba tela, le tan long shu tan, kupansun to be, no to kain tanges, le pansun soba, long shu pansun soba, kupansun soba, zeba pansun soba. And then going to the Chishu Jiden Jaganua, Chishu Jiden, Moto, Le Pansun Soba, Sanang to Ludero, Le Pansun Soba, Kopansun Soba, Lomala Soba de Nijo, Kopansun Soba, Longe Pansun Soba, Tomba Pansun Soba, Tomba said Zeba Jagur Zeba, Queen Zeba, Songin Zeba, Tojin Zeba, the Nomashi Mara. 당원 들로데 제주 지내 작도 제주 지dan 때문에 뭐도데 제주 지도 롱셔 편송 소바
야
르 편송 소바 안에 코 편송 소바 동바 편송 소바 너도 제일 동바 편송 소바 선도와 동바 세야데 네 바수 추지 제생 제발을 야고 제바 편송 소바 꾸이 제바 송긴 제바 토진 제바 편송 소바들라 Tomba Pansun Soba Laugures. What is the pass?
Longe Pontu Soba, Lu Pontu
Soba, Le Pansun Soba, Kor Pansun Soba, Kor Pansun Soba, Deja La Soba to Ejero. That Tomba Pansun Soba and Zeba Pansun Soba. Zeba, Daku Zeba. Kui Zeba, Puna Sanjil Chajaba, Ina and Sanji Kui, and then Naju, and Triban Rabana Mamuta, Kui Zeba in Zero. Sungin Zeba. Chupon Jedi Don Sombala Soba, Tuka Sunga Zeba in Zero. Tujin Zeba, Shera Taji Shemba. Tujin Zeba in Zero. What the Naji Kangal and Draban Rabaja Zero. Yeah.
So when we look at this word excellence, let's see here.
Le dans l'enjeu dans votre nez, vous ne pas n'allez du la d'une gabas, tenez une derrière. Ngoto de la tena kuyu dubi ngoto jie yuares. Ngoto ina kuyu dubi ngoto imi chaba yuares. Pena ngele ngoto yuares. Pena longu chugu tuzo kanga ngoto res ngoto. Ngobar towa. Longu chugu tuzo ngoto jagu res. Ane ngele ngoto tuzo kanga lo ane kowa yin ponja yin si lao tugu marabata. Ngoto le tena kuyu dubi ngoto tanga Kuyu Madibu Ngotu Ni Wares. Kuyu Madibu Ngotu Teremade. Le Don Lonshu Don.
The Detslag Go Rinpoche. So when we look at this word excellence, you see it in the next part where it talks about this, in his part as well, excellent bodies, etc. We can divide this word excellent into various categories. We have excellent resources. We have an excellent body, we have an excellent retinue or attendance, and then excellence, ultimate excellence. And then when we could divide that into the excellence of the body, speech, and mind of the Buddha, for instance, the excellence of the body with the 32 major and 80 minor marks, the excellence of the speech with the 60 melodious rhythms and so forth, and the excellence of the mind in the ability to perceive all objects, the level of omniscience. perceive all objects. The ability to perceive all objects is literal translation. Those are the various categories. So when we look at those excellent things within high status, we can't say that all of those things are necessarily a cyclic existence or korwa, a cyclic existence. We find that there are two categories there. Those of the mundane and those of super mundane. We'll get into that next. Rinpoche was about to, and I just had some information I didn't want to forget. Okay, Diksun Rinpoche.
Yeah, what the could the said the Barbeta, Sonro le, Kui Fansutan, Naban Johnson Yoris, Sonsutan, and not to turn the Yen and Jigam to Dover or Lotu Sewa, Lotu Temarbe. Not to Ina. And then could be not to Chabayo Maris. Now, Luton Longe Ponson Suba, Luton Longe Copanson to be not to Kain Tanges, not to Kain Tange, could do Maites, not to Ina, could be Chabayo Maris, could do Maites, what the Tangadua, and then could do Maite, Lula Suba, Ponson Suba, Tashin Bane, Le Ponson Suba, Longe Ponson Suba, Copanson Suba. And Zeba Pansun Soba and Kola Soba Tashin Bane Zogo Dansa Zogo Drogo Dongo to Marbe, Drogo Dongo to Zote, Motuja Ures, Motu on the Yashute, Drogo Longo to the radio orders, Motula could be Chagmares and the Zojo dance, Tea Shingi Joba dance, Jobas. Shingi Joba said that no what the Jerota, Lonsho Person was in Jeroa. Shingi,
I just remember
that Longo don't go to the Tabi, Shinkantan, what the Lonsho Person was Marbe. What the Shingi Joba dance, the Lonsho Person was in Jeroa. Shingi Joba dan, the Conans, that Longu Kor, Drugu Koto to Galo, what the radio is.
That's
The radio is a Tenekarsa Moto Nalila to be moto to what Longo to Trogo to the J, and then Longo to Trogo to Longo Person Sobare, Copanson Sobare, Zeba Person Sobare Dioris, Embisharos, Telagune, Tatugi, and then Telagune, and the Josh among women do the Jin Gosun to Son Yoris. De la Gone, do the Jenless, Longe Tan, Le Penson Soba, Longe Penson Soba, Le Penson Soba Tan, Coton, Copenson Soba, Tomba Penson Sobas, Copenson Sobata, Sanjig Duja to the Jan Digro, Tomba Senate, Passachi Jasange, Zeba Locogurus Zeba, Kuin Zeba, Song Zeba, Tojin Zeba. What the soldier was, Zeba Penson Soba, Penson Subi, Penson Moto Chichu Jiden, what there is a Moto Chichu Jiden, Moto Chichu Jiden, the Longe Penson Soba, Le Penson Soba, Kuru Penson Soba, Tomba Penson Soba Jetredo, do the jail zombie, and the Moto Jiden Tredoa, Longe Penson Soba, Le Penson Soba, Kuru Penson Soba. Tomba Penson Soba. What the to be motos, moto dance, oh yeah. Moto dance. She passing Tombaje, Jimba Tudin Zoba Tundu, six purposes, Trunaneji, Tombaje together, and then Moto Drubason Yoris Moto. Jimba Tudin Zoba Tundu Jetige. Geshe Lharampa Moto de Yungres, Lai Tenzin de Yungres, Mei Tenzin de Yungres, Moto dance, Tambaji, Moto Droba Sonshins, Jung Mombane, Tadaki, Jimba Tudin Zoba, Tundu, Tadaki, Zogu Droba Son Yoris, Zojuko Droba Son Bicherosa, Zojuko Droba Son Bicheros. What the other land go to the remedy? Shero Paris Shimbombi, Jibi Paris Shinlasu, Jawanas Tausis, yes. Shero Parishin Bombi, Jibi Parishin Lasso, Jawanas Tausis on Dula, Shera Parishin Maimbi, Pashin Jendakalo, and Toyin but son yours, Jibi Parishin Lasso, Jawanas Tausus, the Lano to Redua. Then the Bone Baba Le, Kenji Zawali Shuayi, Shanju Sen Julu Shuayi, Touch of Paru Shimbas, Tausia to the pervasion to say some assist pervasion. Or to the double
The Gonrim, the Long Yanja Suriname?
Ore Baba Le was the Taji Chamba de, Sanji Gomonte, Kenji Zawali Shuaris. Kenji Zawala Tene, Sanji Yuare, Shanju Sen Jula Tene, Sanji Yuare, Sis pervasion, Tala Tene Sanji Yuaris, Touch of Paru Shimba. Taji Chamba the Shanju Sen Kenji Zawali Shuayi, Shanju Sen Juli Shuayi, Touch of Paru Shimba, one Babal de Sondua, what took on double with the Rendu.
Further, not everything within high status, excellent body, resource, and attendance is included within cyclic existence. The most excellent body is a Buddha's embodiment as form. The most excellent resources are the riches of this embodiment's realm, and the most excellent attendants are these embodiments' retinue. Intending this, Maitreya says in the ornament from Mahayana Sutras that you achieve high status as a human or deity by means of the first four perfections. And it says excellent resources and body and excellent retinue, high status. So when we look at Basu Chuji Jetsun's commentary, he states that the most excellent body really refers to the category of Buddha's body, speech, and mind. So that excellence term, that's what it would be referring to. So when we look at these different categories, the body, the excellent body of the Buddha is the emanation body and the enjoyment body of the Buddha. So these are those two excellent bodies that a Buddha achieves in the actual form body. So then when we look at the resources, we would say that it's the actual Pure Land that they're abiding in, or the realm that they're abiding in, the excellent realm. And then the retinue, or attendants, sometimes it's translated, it says the most excellent attendants are this embodiment's retinue. So they've just used two words. So those who are around those form bodies of the Buddha, attending to the form bodies of the Buddha, the emanation body and the enjoyment bodies. So that's what these categories are referring to. And we find many points made that are very similar to the points that are being presented here. So when we go back to the misconception, we see that that there is no conflict here between wanting to achieve a basis from which one can achieve an ultimate goal. There's not a conflict for an aim at this temporary basis, and we see throughout scriptures where we find that the perfections and so forth lead to higher realms and so forth. So therefore, again, it is said in many texts that you achieve a Buddha's embodiment as formed by means of the first four perfections. Therefore, those who achieve omniscience accomplish a great amount of exceptional ethical discipline, generosity, patience, and the like for a long time. Consequently, they diligently seek the effects of these as well, exceptional high status with its body and so forth. And when we look in Atisha's Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment, we find apart from the perfection of wisdom, all virtuous practices such as the perfection of giving are described as skillful means by the victorious ones. whoever under the influence of familiarity with skillful means cultivates wisdom will quickly attain enlightenment, not just by meditating on selflessness. And then in the Gomrim, the medium stages of meditation by Kamalashila, it talks about omniscience has at its root compassion, which is caused by, I'm going to misquote this, bodhicitta, and the method being the 6 perfections. So in order to practice these perfections, we'll look that quote up later, in order to practice these perfections, it's necessary to have a basis from which to practice. And one achieves these results first in as a high status being, and then eventually achieves liberation and Buddhahood. But that basis of high status is necessary, and it is achieved through practice of the 6 perfections. So we find these temporary goals and ultimate goals presented. Ngay Tsampa Diksun Rinpoche.
Yung Shishin, Lang Shishin, Debu Shishin, Song Yu de Marbe, Song Shishin, and then Yung Shishin, Lang Shishin, Debu Shishin Song, and then Shishin Yina, Debu Shishin Chap, Shiro Paru Shin Me, Ishit and Tijin Shis, and then Shishin Yina, Debu Shishin Chap, Lang Shishin Tang, Yung Shishin Yabutele, Shishin Me Tabaramato, Shishin Gone Ma Yins, Lang Shishin Shanchu Sembi Lang. Yung Shishin, Takat Shanchu Sembi Lang Tang, Nebu Shishin Tembi, Sonro to so, Yung Shishin Marbe. What the Suka Dabba Marbe, what the Katsu Jai in Jere.
So when we look at these quotes, we'll see that there is an enormous amount of information that's presented within it. Apart from the perfection of wisdom, all virtuous practices, such as the perfection of giving, are described as skillful means by the victorious ones. So when we look at this word perfection, we see it divided into 3 categories: scriptural perfection, path perfection, and then resultant perfection. And the only actual perfection is the resultant perfection, or the effect perfection. The others are just nominally designated as perfections, but they are not perfections. The resultant perfection is referring to Buddhahood. The path perfection is referring to the bodhisattva path that leads to that. And the scriptural perfection is referring to books or scriptures that are about the bodhisattva path and about the resultant perfection. So we can see that the only real actual perfection is the resultant perfection. The others are facsimiles of perfection and are just nominally designated as such.
Tandan the Pashin Dombaji Song, the Shanchu Sembi Juji, Pashin Dombaji Shanchu Sembi Juji, Jimba Chutin Zoba Tunduji, the river Marbe. Pashin Dombaji and then Jushebala, then the Moto Hatami, Tenzon Yongres. Jung Mobane and Jimba Chutin Zoba Tundi Pashin Jibatagi, and the Zugu Druba Song Besh, Zugu Druba Song Dos. What the Sunday Jimatu and Shero and Sunday, what the Legamo do the Jing. Six per passion and do you know as Shero patient and Sonre and then Lama got Torres and Nazut de Momushid. Do the gender Jimatu Jabundo, Jimba, Tsujin Zoba Tunju, Jibatege. And then go to Drubasondo, Jum Mobandate, Zujuku Drubason Beages. Says Perbajan on the Jid Matu, Tamani the Yomdoda. What is Dubadota?
The Yanjar Suranang is Sabolatu, Gonga Mebichi Rimche.
What the Nazu Shera Parishin Bombe, Jimmy Parishin La Sujana, the Tosi, Nazu to you, Santandu, Shera Shanju Sembi Juji, Lanches in there. And Yuson Res, Yuson Tova, Matamares, Talhama Nayo Marbe, not the Naso, Matic Sonjat Marbe, Jimba Tsutin Zoba Tundu Santen. Then do the Jango what the Tamba Jitamato, what the Tamba Jitamato, not to Jin Somudua. Son the Japan Rabamudu. Ah, do the Jan, six preparation on Tamba Jete, Materes, need the PG Son the Japan Rabamudu. Ah,
okay, so do.
Jum Mobone. Jimba Tsutin Zoba, Shantu Sembe Lange Tege, Zogu Duba Son Yoris.
Okay, I see.
What is Katu Dubando Kale?
Lesso. Then the Dodejen the K Langadu, Gangasen the NGK, the Becha Jenda K Langadu. The Puik, the Dodejen K Langadu. The NGK, the Dodejen along, then the Becha Jenda. The Shintru, the Tambo Jie, the Dodejen. The NGK, the Dodejen Long Yure, the Long Shu Dang, then the Becha Jenda, the Kalen, the Tambo, the Shintu Tambo Jie. The Sanjay, the Zuguju, Becha Jenda, Deb Jenda, Becha Jenda.
Tambu Jenda, Becha Jenda, do the Jenchiba is road.
Okay.
Le Don Longe, Coperson Soba, Tomba Person Soba Jet Road. Ah,
Lesser.
But the Pashin Tambu Jes, Jiba Tutin Soba Tundu Jet Marbe.
Lesser.
J. Montu Drubason, Jumobone, Zogu Drubason dos.
Lesser.
Ancient the Chaba.
Okay. Dead Chapa Detsi Yure, Gangin Sina, the Dodejen top, the Ni Yure, Dodejen Long, then Dodejen Long Sar, then the Lamason Kappa, the Becha Jenda, the Kalen do. Becha Jenda, the Kalen, the Shintu, the Tambo Jie, Zuguju.
What the Jung woman is at the road?
Jung Mambo.
Jung woman,
Jung Mambo.
Jung woman, and do the Maim, Jung woman, Jimba Tutin Zoba Tundu Jabutake, Zugudu was on.
Ale, Dodejen the Kalen Mare.
Do the Maim Jung.
Okay, two Chenrezig Rinpoche, Gonga Mebichi. Okay, Sabolatu. So then there's a qualm that's presented. So here in the Atisha's lamp we find, apart from the perfection of wisdom, all virtuous practices such as the perfection of giving are described as skillful means by the victorious ones. And then in here we find, again, it is said in many texts that you achieve a Buddha's embodiment as formed by means of the first four perfections. So this would seem to differ, because then we would question, then the perfection of concentration, is that a perfection of wisdom? Would it fall under a category of wisdom as opposed to a category of method that we would normally put it under? So this is something that we have to think about, because it seems different than what is presented, previously presented. That's it.
This way.
Dixon.
Shanchu Sembi Juji, Pashin Jibutake, Zugu Duba Sombe, Tenas, Jusen Tisher, Nache Druba, Najine, Nache Tondineva, Najine, Chutinta, Jimbatan, Zobaso, Che Mashi, Pudushon, Tunebu Drubinas, Nache Tondineva, Shanchu Sambatu Marbe, Tena, Nache Druba, Najine. 나체 두게 샤주 삼바스 마르베 샤주 삼바 나제네 추징이냐래 예미냐래 제비냐래 수체 모진스 네 파싱이냐래 몽보레스 체 모진 흐드 중앙나 뒤에rembo 된 개발을 된 냐스랭고아레스 drubi나 더 druba 인소다 안에 대학인 제보 Drebutele, Lula Subi, Ngotoyan, Lula Subi Ngotoyan, Chip de Juansa, Lula Subi Ngotoyan, Chip de Juan, Longo to Jogo to the Zero, Chip de Juan, Tondonia Yenosa, what things are Marbe? 다 샹주 선바 저거데 네 짐바다 추진다 저바다 전주 두수가로 시작이 나다 몸냐래 제거래 네 표도 좋아나 뒤에 뭐 깨봐 뭐 냐래 제거 루베나 네 주바 인소상 대다근 제부들 르 방송 소바 코 방송 소바 농수 방송 소바 종바 방송 소바 뭐도야 표도 좋아 더드냐와 이노스 뭐도야 표도 좋은 것도 더드냐고레스 what nearly you doing about what about the inside.
Therefore, those who achieve omniscience accomplish a great amount of exceptional ethical discipline, generosity, patience, and the like for a long time. So this is speaking about bodhisattvas who engage in the six perfections practices, and they do so for many eons. So when we say a long time, this really means a very long time. And it says, consequently, they diligently seek the effects of these as well, exceptional high status with its body, and so forth. So when we look at this word exceptional high status, it's excellence high status. So we would be referring to, in this case, the form bodies of the Buddha, the enjoyment body, and the emanation body. And just as translators know, we go back, it says not everything within high status. So that's what it's meaning there. So here, this high status, exceptional high status, is referring to that of the Buddhas. And Rinpoche said enjoyment body and emanation body. Okay.
Shunju les mei chula tene ne denga chu chile ju she somba tar me chunbi denju ten la tene se su gewa da na che tu gulas te yang chitama jubi shir le de duje ji ju damba chutin ne la ji tawa yino sa le ji du chutin duje ji jo chutin ne and the large tower in Osa. Tango to Jun, Chutin Legemes, or the red water. So, you know, Dendru Lujan, sending Yosu Mazubi, Dendru made that on high Lutan by Inaya, or the Dendru Kasa. Sending Yosu Mazubi, not to Lutan Latene, Nasha Druba Inaya, Dendru Lujan, sending Yosu Mazubi. Yuen Shuruwa Dan Denbe Lan Drujan Saju Chongyu Na Yongzushi Gulasa Dendru Luden and the May Luden, the Lai Luden, Yimba Tanji, Ndigu Maris, May Luden, May Luden, Chichu Jiden, May Luden, what the Pensun Subajimena, and Nasha Druva in the Nacha Druga Jena, the Nova Chibuton Maris, and Sachu Chongyu Na, Nova Chibuton Maris, Yongdushi Guguris, Telane, Gusula Subutak, and the Tain Barata, Sutagutumba Jay Mariva, Nienegutumba, Guinegutumba, and Gusugutumba, and Gulomi Dumba, Gulumai Dumba, Gulupai Dumba. Susutaba redu rije what the Tamal the Sombal Goba Yuaris, the Taman Somba Ina what the Motu the Person Soba Yungres. What is one thing said? Le de Druji, Jutaba Chutin, Lange Tawa Yino. Dendru Le Jan, Teni Yonsu Mazubi, Yunten Shuruwa than Dembe, Lan Drujan, Tabat Tanjamba Drujan. Sachu Chongyu Nova Chibuton Maris, Yonsu Zubashi Gulas, Telane, Ti Jukana Gatula Subi, Sabiji Yonsu Zuba, Sabiji Yonsu Mazuba Sombi, Machubes, Nieneng Domba Somba Sajin Tigo Maris, Tane Machube, Ganula Subi, Saji Yonsu Zuba, Duba Lambegu Sosa, Galum Pami Domba. Gulo me Dumba, Gusu Pami Dumba, what the summer Jotuba ina wate ngotu le phasung suba yongo jeba ti ngosu le phasung suba yongo na chen joba ina neba chebo yongo res sachu chebo yongo res wate son de sare ane gozo tela ne gesu la subi labi je yonso zoba sombe machu bes galon la subi haje yonso zoba son la begozo sa Nene domba da soda domba gas somba ina tela tena ngatu le da tugres ngatu le hansun suba tua kabre te tuba la galon la sobi domba de songures
Vasa.
galon pama la sobi labi je yonsu zoba son la be gozo sa what about kaleji jujana.
The achievement of the final goal, certain goodness, is spoken of in engaging the bodhisattva deeds. Relying on the boat of the human body, free yourself from the great river of suffering. As Shantideva says, you must rely on a life in a happy realm, exemplified in the verse by the human body, and cross the ocean of cyclic existence, reaching omniscience. Moreover, you must pass successively through many lifetimes. Consequently, ethical discipline, the preeminent cause of achieving a body in a happy realm, is the root of the path. Moreover, you need a body in a happy realm that is fully qualified, for even if you have achieved the path, you will make little progress with a body that is not completely qualified and only possesses good qualities to some extent. For this it is not enough to partially observe the fundamental trainings of novice monks and the like. You must strive to maintain the fundamental trainings of monks and so on in their entirety. So here, in this last part where it talks about, for this it's not enough to observe the fundamental trainings of novice monks. If we look at the individual liberation vows, there are 8. There is the one-day vow, and then there are 7 lifetime vows. So there is the householder vow for a male and female, there is the novice monk and nun vow, there is a probationary nun vow, and then there's a fully ordained monk and nun's vows. So here the statement is that it's not enough to observe when we speak of this most excellent way of practicing. If you should really strive to be fully ordained, to take on the full vows. So you should be striving for this. So here it's saying that the root of the path is ethical discipline. So you should be striving for the highest form of that in order to be working towards omniscience in the most, in the best way, in the greatest way. If you are missing, so here it's not saying. So we're saying the higher realms of cyclic existence, but here it's more specific are the goal. But here it's more specifically saying the human basis is really the goal, because the human basis is the boat that we can free ourselves from the great ocean of suffering from. And then what do we do with this basis of a human basis? We engage in ethical behavior, which is the root of the path, and then strive to achieve the highest form of ethical behavior, which is that of a fully ordained individual. Okay, we'll take a short break.
Mais le temps de Karsugre bot marbe bot le pajama exemple mais le temps de exemple mais trotene bot le temps jasu phare du turo tanaji mais trola tene kuyi jasu phare du tures mais trola mata de lui dans la matin ba bot le matin ba ane den rutu mare tabal rutu mare sanji sal rutu mares dendu gi le de ne kuyu jazu parudo drejege druzinda mares bodinda mares me trola tenene dunge chu chele dru dunge gi jazu dru ne parudo dunge bo taba sanji ya odende me she songba tare me chönbe sa me chönbe dendu tenta dendu ten me le ten re chudu ten me le ten da sai le ten mo yo jiro a me chönbe dendu ten la ten ne si tu gewas ku jasul ku dongel tu na che do gures me le ten da lai le ten tu le ne tabi judu dugre sanji gu tu judu dugre re ma tu ne song ten le ne tabi juda na che judu du me ju da me chen bi ma da lai le den de la ten ne tu din la ten ne an wo de ku ja tu gi na che du gures tabal du gure sanji gures wo de je wala me le den que tu dendu le den le matin ba sans je tout mare taba tout mare son de ça de rogula te en tsara to ma jubi te en tsara to ma me le den ji la le den ji le ne taba tout mare sans je tout mare ne sans je ba le ka ba chama son tout ça gore ne raje le sur ke ba ja yo so je ka so ke ba ja tout ça go ba la so ba te na ni te to so le te ne tsaro mobile sono tsuma saba ane tabatudo manager wa 대양 저로 도마나 주비 주급이 셔 le doji le doji tambadote suti zawres omanjobal ngotu jone suti lejemes ngotu jo modul hata me tazon tu jo tu suti res suti labo yomares suti zawa yino dendu le jan tseni yonso madubi yonten shuru wada dembe la dro jan 사주 총유 네 용두시 고라사 dendu dembe le wote tagabaga tole ane tabat saji chaba duba ina neba chaba tengo mares dendu le den phonson soba chigo gores tala te yongwa la gesu la sobi labi je yonso zoba sombe yonso zoba ma sombe machobes galon la sobi laji yonso zoba somba la bego sos tabana galon man chaja ba ina tombo wote galon man genye domba ruma genye domba do tene galon mai domba tene gesu mai domba tene galon mi domba tene galon mai domba yongo do domba mo tsungwa ju senteres
ya ju sulan
galon man chaja ba ina tombo galon man tombo drubal tombo genye domba duro
oh tombo okay genye then getsu then
tene gesu je tene galon ma je tene galon domba jene ro do galon le tombo yene genye domba tene gesu je domba an galon domba ro do what the sungwa ju sente wa nga tere song de sar
then the druzing the meluden kuna medan hla luden nika yemba the druzing
do the majamba song mo do mala
jamba
the me chembe dendu itala me chembe me le den tours te chembe la dans to mo yo ars dendu chudu bitan de la me le den dans me le den chembe la le den mo yo are o dendu ten mo la ten ne ane tabi jo na je judu ne sanje gore tabatu gores o to son de samarba te 서로 도마 주기 비실 네 르데질 상제도 말에 르데질 타바토도 말에 어디 서로 몸을 어디 몇달 하이 르데를 때네 아니 타비죠 상제 고문도 주주네 타바토야 상제 고그레스 어디 손대 말바
The achievement of the final goal. So what is the cause of the final goal, certain goodness, is spoken of in engaging in the Bodhisattva deeds. Shantideva's Guide of the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. Relying on the boat of the human body, free yourself from the great river of suffering. As Shantideva says, you must rely on a life in a happy realm, exemplified in the verse by the human body, and cross the ocean of existence, reaching omniscience. Moreover, you must pass successively through many lifetimes. Consequently, ethical discipline, the preeminent cause of achieving a body in a happy realm, is the root of the path. So I just had asked Rinpoche if this was only the human body, and he said no, there are many bases in the higher realms from which we could say it would be a cause, or a cause for achieving the final goal. Here we see the presentation on the boat of the human body, but it says, as Shantideva says, you must rely on a life in a happy realm, so the higher realms of cyclic existence, because in the lower realms of cyclic existence you don't find this basis from which you can practice Dharma, whereas in the higher realms you find the best bases for the achievement of the final goal, certain goodness, liberation, and then ultimately complete Buddhahood and omniscience. So the human basis here, or the higher realm basis, is being compared to a boat. In order to go across an ocean, you need a boat. So here this basis is compared to a boat, and the ocean, we could say, is the ocean of cyclic existence. So one takes the human basis, which is a boat, and can use it to go to the other side of the ocean of cyclic existence, or the ocean of suffering, to where there is no longer that. So the other side to liberation, the other side to complete Buddhahood. So all of these things are caused. So one needs to accumulate over many lifetimes the causes for this final achievement. So it takes, we look at the Bodhisattva path, the 3 countless eons that it takes in order to achieve that goal. In that period of time, you will need many bases that are of high status in order to accumulate the causes for your liberation, for your Buddhahood. So ethics is the cause of achieving those bases from which one can practice. So we state that really ethics is the root of the path. When we look at the individual, the Rinpoche, Cheran de Kalpa Chik Sunam Sa Lasum Garshine, Cheran Kalpa Trame Sun Lasum, then Cheran Kalpa Chik, the Donde Garshine, E Jesu.
Keba jisuru keba jayu jus. Ransaje choji kaso keba ja chosa ures ranje.
Ranje.
Minisoko. Ranje go choji kaso keba ja sonong chosa bala tena ode ranje dajun tu ures.
Okay, then
Anna ni tu so mo june mo sa o jero.
Okay. Then the Cabernet, the long. The Sanje, the Kalpa Ja. Cabernet. Okay. And we find also in the Abhidharma text where it states to achieve the foe destroyer in the Prachika Buddha vehicle, or the Prachika Buddha foe destroyer, it takes 100 kalpas, 100 eons. So we can see the length of time that is necessary to achieve these goals. And what we need to do in order, is from a cause perspective, to achieve those goals. So one will not be able to, with just this one basis, this one body, achieve the state of liberation or achieve the state of Buddhahood. It's going to take many lifetimes as gods and humans in order to do so. So this is why this point is made. Won't have great achievements. So then, even if you have a basis in a happy realm, if it's not fully qualified and doesn't possess all of the most excellent qualities, then it won't be as useful. It won't have as many abilities in terms of causing liberation or causing Buddhahood. So one has to strive to eventually take on the highest form of ethical behavior, which is the fully ordained vow. But we see that there are steps that lead up to that fully ordained vow. So you, through series of lifetimes, have to go through these steps. So you have the individual liberation vow of a householder that then becomes the cause for the novice vow, that then becomes the cause for the probationary nun vow, and then becomes the cause for the fully ordained nun vow, if we're looking at it in the female perspective, and then male, the householder to novice to fully ordained. So we see the need for this time in order to even achieve the most conducive state of excellent ethical training behavior. So this is why it's stated that it's necessary to have this high status as a part of the path. Moreover, you need a body in the happy realm that is fully qualified, for even if you have achieved the path, you will make little progress with a body that is not completely qualified and only possesses good qualities to some extent. For this, it is not enough to partially observe the fundamental trainings of novice monks and the like. You must strive to maintain the fundamental trainings of monks and so on in their entirety. Okay. Then the Galung Pai Dumba Yakshu, Galung Mai Dan Galung Pai Dumba the Kalen. The Tambo the
Galung Pai Dumba the Mai Dwaniga, what the Kenya Dumba, Getu Dumba, Galome Dumba, Galung Mag Dumba Jidu, and the Galung Pala Galo Masu Maramadu, Getu, Kenya, Getu, Galung, Sondro. So when
we look at the various trainings of vows in the individual liberation perspective of a female, the householder vow to the novice to probationary to fully ordained, we see that these things all become causes for high status because they are the forms of ethical discipline which are the root of the path, which are the cause for achieving the happiness of a body in a higher realm. So that's it. I just have a question. I'm never going to get to it. Me too. What she? Dixon.
Tabatutu mare, Sanji Gumutu Mutua, and then Muntu Leden, the Ejimiji Goduas, Muntu Leden, the Kuipazures, the Dundian and Mariso, Nabe, Lotu, the land Rudo, Tama, Sai Lotu, the Kaji Gode, Muntu Leden, the Kuipan, Muntu Panzula, Yishin Jungo, Sonbe, and then Muntu Dundian Balatana. Rigamandus, Ludu Sevas, Ludu Tomatamarve, with the region, Shunju, Lord John, what the Lutu, the Nation, Tabatanji Chamatubala, Mata, Lai, the Lul Mademba, Tabatanji Batutu Mudua. They Sudan, Notu, Hatame, Tenzo Manin, Rigamanduas, Telatene, Tabatukure, Sanji Gumotugure, Notu Ledemena. Tabatan Taji Tutu Mares, Teacher, and then Mudu then the Kupan to Himbe, the Dundunia Marisus and the Digament was what the land of the land.
So, in order to achieve the final goal, and this is certain goodness again, it's necessary to rely on a life in a happy realm. And it needs to be a fully qualified body in a happy realm in order for it to be able to achieve the goals of liberation and of complete Buddhahood. If one doesn't have this basis to rely upon, this excellent basis to rely upon, then it's not possible to achieve liberation or complete Buddhahood. So this is the point that's being brought forth, and then qualification of what a fully qualified being that possesses all the good qualities would be. That's it. That's it.
So
this is the third category. This is the third category, which is dispelling misconceptions. So it's clearing up this misconception about the high status and so forth by the means of these commentary and quotes, scriptural quotes.
So if we have all of these different levels of excellence in our lives, if we have this excellent body, if we have the excellent resources, if we have the excellent retinue, and then we have these three, then we will be able to quickly achieve the state of Buddhahood, to be able to achieve the excellent body, or excellent, most excellent, and not body in the sense of the human embodiment, the body, speech, and mind, that category. So one is able to do so by observing these various trainings of the novice, of the householder, then the novice, then the probationary, then the fully ordained, for instance, nuns' vows. So by taking these vows and following them, one is moving closer to liberation and Buddhahood. The more, and moving quicker, I don't know how to translate this, if you have taken all the vows and hold them, as opposed to just some of the vows, but they all cause each other. Right. Sudaji Drajun Tubi Sherina, Susutabi Domba Sonade, and Drajumo Tubi Sherina, Galon lo ni shu malemba to moron shin galon to ba to ba lo ni shu la gores ni shu la gores ni shu malemba to galon to ba to yo mares moron shin genye jeten la ya da chung genye ga to ba sona te den la da chung to ba yo res te genye ga den ha ches kala den shu galon to ba chi shi Mawas, the Kaji Dobani Leodoni. And Sotago Thomas was the Dajun to visit to res. There was Dajun to visit Sotago Thomas was. And Galon to Loni Shumaleba to Galon to Badu, Runandi Rungo Marawa, Digu Marawas, Genya Tenla, and the Dajun to the Genya Tenla Dajun Batuba Euros. Ten Hachi, Genya the Ashuris. Kala Dun Chung Yun, the Galon so Chisha, Galon Domba Mosuna, Tanda Cario, the Goba Manduseta, then to what a new to Bani. What new Kuzulajana?
Tambo, okay. So we have two misconceptions that are pointed out in this next part. So some say that if maintaining ethical discipline is for the purpose of achieving a rebirth in a happy realm, you can achieve this even by a one-day vow. So why become a monk, which is difficult, which is a difficult life with little purpose? And then it says, others say that if the purpose of vows of individual liberation is to become an arhat, why become a monk and lead a life which is difficult and of little purpose? Rather, we should value a life as a lay practitioner, for you can also become an arhat in such a life. And besides, you cannot become a monk until you reach the age of 20. So here, it's saying that you can achieve a rebirth in a higher realm with a one-day by keeping one-day vows. So why should you become a monk? And then also it's saying, and as a lay practitioner, you can achieve the state of foe destroyer. So why go through the difficult life of the fully ordained? So these points are presented. Then the Genye, the Dajomba, the Nga, Chirang, the Nga Lasun.
Ta Genye go to Quotas go, that the Galung Dumba, Galung, you should Malamba the Galung Dumba Maro. Genye Dumba Druba, Jimmy, Luni should do Maro, Lago Maro.
Lesser.
And then Genye tell Dajo to one you are,
Lesser.
And then Genye Dumba Yashu,
Lesser.
Galung the Mamakala. So
the householder vow makes it possible for one to become a foe destroyer. So what's the reason? And also a householder vow can be taken before the age of 20. So since this can be held, what's the reason for taking on all of these extra vows that make life difficult, since one can achieve the foe destroyer with a householder vow? So that's just a little bit cleaned up translation of what I just translated. So why become a monk or a nun? This question.
This man. To be a color Galunsuji. Cheshashim Hawane, the Gabasa. What that in the water, Duata? That what the Germachig water and Sotago Tumba the Dajun to be Shetina and Dajun to be Shetu Sotago Tumba Songo Ros and then Yene Tumbalena Sotago Tumba to Ros. Then Kalikabu, Glon Mata, what in Kalikabas on Goba Carres, to what Chirova. Jenda Sota Dajun to be Jena, Glon Lodi Shuma Lemba to Dajun Lana Glon Lodi Shuma Lemba to Glon to Landrum Mares. Ganye Jitela Dajun to the Euro, and the Ganye de Ajudes, Lodi Shuma in the Kalikabu. Moja Momosongo Mares, and a Ganye Haji, Kala Dun Chung Yu, 글롱고 돈발로서 칼레 카바도 손에 돈다 조종마도 모두스다 제샤시 마와네 템비네 마시비 자주 전부 자주시샤와 자주시시라사 어들라겐데 다 가서고 가지니들 템비 내가 치문도스 다 템비 내가 마시비 자주 전부스 다가 켈루전 시시에 버레스 셰라 돈바 오마 텐도 시네스 돈바 오마 텐도 시 돈바 그냥 돈바 테네 글로미 돈바 그투 마이 돈바 어디 글로마이 돈바 어디 손바이나 테 구바치고 와레스 글로는 찾아봐이나 네네 돈바 그투 돈바 글로무 돈바 도스 안 데르 손바이나 어디 잡치고 용거레스
Less so.
오마라네 하비지 용수바 손발라 베고소사 셰데 오마 켈라네사 오마 텐도 셰네 오마 타게니도 바텐 셰네 아네 그수 돈바 말바
Less so.
그수 돈바 텐 글로메 돈바
Less so.
그 글로마이 돈바 오두스네 마이나 덴데르 표소 소바 용거레스
Rimbo non-drabble. Okay.
What does one thing said?
So if as a householder, it's much easier and less abandonments. If as a householder, one can achieve a state of foe destroyer, then it's stating that this seems to be the best position to be in. So why take on the difficulties of a ordained person where there are so many things to have to abandon? Why not just stay as a householder? So here, understand these claims to be great nonsense from persons who do not understand the key points of the teaching. Rather, strive to maintain the fundamental trainings completely, gradually assuming the higher vows while using the lower ones as supports. So one should be looking at it as the stages which will gradually allow one to have the most excellent basis, the most excellent way of training. So one would take on the householder vow as a female householder vow, and then the novice vow of a female, and then the probationary female vow, and then the fully ordained female vows would be the result of these other vows, which serve as a support and bases for the others as they go up into more abandonments. As the vows become higher, there are more things to abandon. But it's necessary to do this in a gradual manner, graded stages, in order to eventually achieve the ultimate goal, which is Buddhahood, and then or liberation. The ultimate goal is Buddhahood.
What nama should be long baby, Jibby Chunga, Tomoja Lani, Lojan was chasing those. So
this concludes the explanation of the training the mind, the stage of the path that are shared with persons of small capacity. So that's it for the pathways for a person of small capacity in this text.
That know what the Chusu Abu now the water about Gishin, the Unganila,
So the center, everyone has listened so well, and I had a very auspicious dream where I was being washed. So this is a good sign. So there was water at a lower level and then water at a higher level coming down, and he was bathing in his dream. And I was staying at my house, or my room was in a place where were around many monks. And there was a washroom inside the house. I was in
inside the house, no wash. nada more gabu yungo maris, Nasan the Kudus, and outside.
Oh, and then I realized that the other monks had to go outside of their rooms to bathe. So I didn't feel good about this, and I went to the outside to where they all had to bathe in my dream, in the Nilang. Yeah, in my dream. I want to make sure we didn't have two things happening, a dream and an actual story. Okay. It's all a dream. Literally. So everyone, the center listened very well and have purified misdeeds. We've gone around and over these things many times. So in the future, when you go to the Dalai Lama's teachings, you have this Lamrim. You'll understand, and as a resource to be able to understand what he's teaching. And then you can look back to the videos and slowly be able to understand this Lamrim, the stages of the path. Some of these sections are so difficult that without Jayan Sheba's commentary, it would be impossible to really clearly go over this text. Jayan Sheba was a great scholar. Sentient, golden rosary. That's sentient.
What the commentary, Buddha trainer, what the Gomatasan, the Tagoras.
Bene Jayan Sheba Yomari.
Jajibak.
Bene Yanjer Kangatsuran, Gangisening Latu Mari. The Jao Rinpoche.
Jajibit, what the Setil, Deba Boni,
okay.
Tuja the Meja. What the Goma Gisha Goma sitting tower.
Then Jao Rinpoche guy.
Jaram is Sonju to the Nye, and then also to the Tena, and the Laril Tena, and Lil Habajano.
And Jayan Sheba was such a great scholar. He has two texts, which are commentaries on Lama Tsongkhapa's Golden Rosary, also. Nama de Nge Lapsa.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That the Shunju Katu till Tanda teaching water. Shunju le May Drula Tena, Dunge, Chu Chile Drew, Sheson Water May, Tumbi, Denu Tena, Tena, Shisu Gewata, Nache to Drugula, Tayan Sura Toma Ju, Kubisher, the Lieutenant, Drujiji, Jutsitin and Lanjitawa. Tawa Yino, Dendri Lu Jang, Chenni Yonsu Zuba, Chenni Yonsu Zuba, Dendri Lu, Chenni Sawade, Tua Keshavarendo, Lanchu Jula, Chenni Sawade, Mane Batu Saju Moyu, Ti Masame Jula Law, what the Sukandi Hedamude, Dendri Chenni Yonsu Zuba, what the Nato Lendisha Samba Katu de Montu Yudenji. Not to Juji, not to Jebuji, what in the song, what to Yamadin Tawudwa.
The Juj, Depo J, there.
Tunde do Narishamina, Jatan Kuchukuchi, Jatan Kuchukuchi is very robbery. What the Ma?
The JJJ, okay. Then the Shuju.
Kuchukuchi is
the Jawagare Rimship.
Then this is somebody Shedat, somebody mother. Shedat, somebody Jatan Jeju Jagure, Jeju Jago, Tamatini Badalua. Name Jebula Jeles, Name Jebuji, Name Juji, Name Juji, what to Yamadin Tawud water.
Dene the Shunju Long, the Jawagare,
Shunju Long Kato May Luten Chenji Sang May Luten Sentua.
the
Chenji
Tseni.
Sang Luten Garugures. Lanchu
Oh.
Drula Chenji Sang Yuten Manye Batu
Tseni, okay.
Ti Masa Maybe Jula.
Lesso.
Uzun Didon Teme Baba de Laba Lady Jun Nechi Jun Toji Sang Tembajis. Chenji Sang Yuten Kanagusa Name Jun Denji. Name Jinjabuji. Name Juji Watakaduke Luten to Gures.
Dene the Long Kabane, the Shunju.
Shunju Kato.
Okay. So when we, as Shantideva says, you must rely on a life in a happy realm, exemplified in the verse by the human body. And then it speaks of you need a body that is fully qualified. So what does this fully qualified mean? If we go back to page, in English, page 243, we find the attributes of the fruition, the effects of the fruitions, and the causes of the fruitions. So when we speak of this idea of a fully qualified, that's what we're referring to with those 8 and 8. So we can refer back to that section when we find all of those points. Translators know consummate lifespan, consummate color, consummate lineage, etc. So you'll find that point that relates to Shantideva's quote and what a fully qualified human body would be.
Chenji Sang the Marva. What the Katu de la Garaju Goreta? Nami Jujebute. Samba Nabatabarala to Goba, Jela to Gobani, Joan Nabatabarala to Gobatan, Jela to Gobat Sansona, what the Jebbe put to Shoma Yungres, the Nami Jujebute Tamatel Duata. Samba Nabatabarala, Goa Saba in a Tanda to Pucha Neba in a Goa Juro. Goa the Sentient Tantric to Sanji Gumu to Jungo, and the Jen Geshe Lharampa and the God Khensur Rinpoche Lobsang Tenzin Gobate Juma Sheba Shutaba Juma Sheba every day, every year, what the Nagyalasia to the Ingerota on the Juma Sheba the Shutabas Jela to Gobate Jen Dombalungoya Dombalan Sakan Domba Sonate Abashiraji Haba Juna. Naba Juba in our Goa country in Aya, Debo Person Super Yungres, Jujebo de Juson Dana, Naba Meba, no, Pudushon and Juros, Motul and Person Super de Nami Juji, then Jetatel Duata A. Jujebo de Juson Dana, Paisian Angle do Jatan Kuchukujire.
Thank you.
Jatan Gochukuchi Chigi Jujeba the Sundan Dena Naba Meba Pudushon and Juros Sundoa
Nirango 90.
What could the tension no Crusade?
Jujepo, that's good.
Jujeba the Jusundan Denas Naba Meba Pudushon, not the Pudushon Younger, not you let them Pudushon Younger.
Jusun Lasem.
Jusun Lasen
Nabadaba.
to be Goba,
Okay.
Jela to be Goba near Marbe, Janla to be Goba to what that Conte Sanji Gomo to Junga the Redoa. Then Jel Jesu Rachi at the Jela to be or the Jesu Rachi, and the Jela to be Goba de Chusing around it as one Jesu Rachi at the Remote, Jesu Ran. And Jenda Dombalungoya. Dombalungo, Dombalan, touch of Dombalan with Shadaya Bore, Punchibures, or the Shiat in Zambarba. What does the Katukuza under the Rotaris, under Tanzana, Kuzu, the Tadagre?
So when you can go back to these pages and look through all of these attributes of the fruitions and the effects of the fruitions and so forth. So when we look at the effects of the fruition, we see the effect of consummate lifespan is that you accumulate much virtuous karma for a long period of time in terms of working for the welfare of both yourself and others. When we're looking at this fully qualified point that's being made, these are the qualities, and then we can go back up here and look at all of the 8 attributes of the fruitions, and so forth.
What does the Tao
So you can look at this. Dixon. So everyone, you can just go over this section again. Yeah, that's the section. So everyone can look at the text.
Sambat naba taba rala tubi guba, jala tubi guba, joa naba taba rala tubi guba, jala tubi guba, shin taba what the jutu samba in that and the Jebba Suba Yunkari said the red war.
So if you have these causes of the fruitions, then you will achieve the results of the fruitions. If you have the causes of consummate lifespan, then you will have the result, which is consummate lifespan. So these are the points that are made in this section. I'm trying to find this something specifically. Decent. I'll find it after, probably the moment we end.
So the
Great Treatise on the Stage of the Path to Enlightenment is such a full book. It contains everything. It contains all of the pronouncements of Lord Buddha. It contains all of the authentic Indian commentaries. It's a very full book. Decent. Someone, I think, has a question, Rinpoche said.
I have a question.
Yes.
All right. And
This is killing me right now.
Thank you, Ted. It's not exactly about the teaching itself. It's what you were saying, Jeff, about there is an extra stage of vow for women, nuns, the probationary status, and maybe that has been explained elsewhere, but I haven't heard it.
Garshene the Jemen Galom I Dumba Yure. Garshene, the Buyomare, the Dumba Yomare. The Galom I Dumba Garshene. Jutsen Gare. The Genye Getsu Geloma. The Bu. The Gelung, the Gelo Yomare. Then Garshene, the Jemen, the Dumba Gu.
Galon Mark Dumba Sonja Jedi Mogris.
Moi.
Oh, that's one of the Kabi Yoda. Gusu Maru Baru de la Galoma Tijane, Galon Son to the Chotajia.
So the fully ordained nuns' vows, there are many more vows than the monks have. So they have this probationary stage to make sure that they can keep those extra vows, that they can keep those extra vows that the monks don't have. They have many more vows than monks have.
And then come out what the Jagal Jabaji, what the Saji Da, and the Galoma, the Saji Kuyon, do Denushi, Susi Damper, Susi Dandul, and the Galoma Dontra, Rajumba Dontrachi, Umaris, Galoma Dontra, Rajumba Dontrachi, Galumpa, Rajumba Chichi,
Chi.
to settle this.
The Dutsugare?
Jabaji, what the Saji Kota Jaba Denushi, and then also what the Susi people, Susi.
Shutsi Serna?
Sayato, the name of people, when the Koyondu Denushi there, Pidilo hote gano mata chumba tongta chi yuares.
Then Chi.
Gano mata chumba mamu mata.
Then the Gyalpo, the Sanjay do. Shachi-tubi do. Okay. So during the time of the Buddha, when a king presented a big ceremony for the ordained, we find a historical account of 1,000 females achieving the state of foe destroyers and 10,000 monks achieving the state of foe destroyers. So in historical accounts, we find many accounts during specific stories where females achieve the state of liberation. So that is what is said.
Yeah.
So we'll do the concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. I dedicate whatever virtues I have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drapa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well, with whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the three times. I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso, may you stay until samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandak, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, the spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Tuji Rimchi Guzi Shapi Denona